So what's up, summoners? King Blair here. It has been some time since we last spoke. A little too long. But today we're going to be talking about an update. As you guys know, I could not miss update weeks, especially when it's a good update. Although this one, I don't know if it's going to be a good one or not. But today what we're going to be doing is talking about all the new heroes that have been introduced, as well as the skins, and the big one's going to be the EEs and the RTA season overall. I don't expect this stream to be a super long stream, just mainly because this update, even though it's like on the week that is the big quote-unquote big updates, it's a slightly smaller patch than normal. It's not our usual dummy big package. Like, there's no new content or anything crazy like that. It's pretty normal. But I still want to discuss it because there's a lot of really good stuff in this patch, particularly the EE updates. I think the EE updates are probably my favorite thing out of this patch. So we'll be talking about it. We'll talk about my thoughts. My hair's getting really long. And it's just some other stuff overall happening in my life. Small, big update. And yes, it's an early stream since I am busy today, but I still wanted to get on stream and talk with you guys and talk about these updates as soon as possible. And I should be back on Sunday doing some more spice. And next week, so some channel updates before we actually get there. Next week, we will be doing a re-gearing stream on Tuesday. Because if you guys know, this new RTA season, I am doing a climb to champion with all RGB heroes. And I might even try no limited. Maybe. We'll still see about that one. I might have to keep my limiteds geared just because I use them a lot in PvE. But we'll see it. Y'all will see me strip Arbitra Vildred and all those units. So that will be next week. Next week will be a really hype stream. Deeds, how you doing, bro? It's a good time. I've been feeling under the weather. There's a lot of work that I've been doing, and also I got my vaccine, so there's that. And I don't know. I think I might have gotten some side effects on the vaccine because I've been feeling really under the weather this week. But I'm okay now. So let's get to it. We're not here to pout or talk about me struggling. We're here to talk about Epic 7 and the updates. So let's get into it. So first, let's just actually go through the patch, right? Let's just basic, right? Let's just go through the basic stuff. No 5-star artifacts. I don't know about that one. I need the 5-star artifacts. So, oh man, I'm gonna skip this one for now because I am so disappointed on this. I am so disappointed in this. Except the frames. The frames look lit, but everything else I'm disappointed in. But let's actually start right and dirty. Let's go straight to the meat of this thing, right? The 2 exclusive equipments. This is actually gonna be probably the most significant change for this particular patch, particularly Kisei. I think Kisei's buff is actually really, really significant. So let's actually talk about it. What do I think about Kisei now with this new EE, and what I think it's gonna be in the future? Oh yeah, the background's beautiful too. I think for reminding me, the aesthetics are always nice. It's just the other stuff that we'll talk about. But let's actually talk about the EE. So first, Kisei. So if you guys didn't know Kisei, right? She's never been a bad unit, especially after the buffs. She's never been a bad unit. She was never quite there, right? She's always been a unit that has the potential to be extremely powerful, but it's always just not quite there yet. It's never quite her meta, and she's always missing just a little bit more, right? Her S1, if the opponent has a buff, is the single highest S1 damage skill in the game. This skill does dummy damage. Like, we're talking like insane damage, right? Especially if the enemy has buffs. The S3 is a very unique skill that gives her barrier as well as stealth, giving her soul survivability. And you guys know that anytime you can get self survivability on a unit, it is very, very powerful. And stealth is so big right now. Everyone's using stealth, and the self barrier is really nice. It's a very self-sustaining unit, and she also CR pushes herself up to 50%, right? And she gets a thick barrier because it's based on the damage or her attack, right? And she does do damage proportional to Caster's current health, which is like the more health she has, the more she does. So if you want her to be at higher health, right? So this skill, really, really cool, right? It's a very strong skill, but she just never was quite there, right? She was never like, because this skill was just damage and self-survivability, and this skill was just damage. She really didn't have that extra thing, right? Like that extra oomph. Like Landy gives speed buff, right? Stene stuns, right? Arby applies glancing hit. T-Cern applies unable to be buffed, right? All these A tier S tier DPSs have more than just damage. They bring something else to the table. And Kise, for the most part, was just there for damage because immunity set. But now that is no longer the case. With this new EE, one of her weaknesses was taken away, and she brings something else to the table. Her soul burn is just more damage, Trace. Her soul burn is legit just more damage. Also, I'll talk about that later, but y'all can probably see here that this is a new version of BlueStacks. And we will talk about it, and I'm super hype about it, and I'm really excited. And it's going to be a good time. I love BlueStacks. And we'll talk about that. But let me find the Kise again, because you're asking about the soul burn. It's just more damage. This S1 has the highest ratios in the game. Like, she does insane damage. Put this on a calculator, and she does dummy damage. Like, if they're buffed, it just does insane amount of damage. It's a huge damage increase on an S1 that you can already soul burn for more damage. We were labbing it out on damage calculator, and this kill can like one-shot almost anything in the game if there's no Ottoman Aureus. Right? It'll legit just delete them from existence. But now, this new EE, the one I'm really looking at is this S3 one. The decrease the buff duration granted on the target by 1 turn when using Nocturne. I think this is the one that is probably the one that everyone's using. Why is it so significant? Not a lot of people are using FRES on their units nowadays, right? It's usually just immunity. And this skill is able to hit very key targets. The big ones that I can think about for this skill are things like Briar Witch, right? If the Briar Witch is not on Guiding Light, and a lot of Briar Witch are not, you can actually hit Briar Witch with this. You can hit 8 Tywins with this. You can hit some Last Rider Crawl, although Last Rider Crawl usually does have FRES. You can hit Chaerons. Chaerons just gets deleted by this. You can hit Rosses. You can hit a Merus. You can hit essentially any DPS you can hit with this. Any tank that doesn't have a lot of FRES, you can hit with this, which is really, really good, right? That's very, very solid. She needed that. The other thing is the speed. Hey, what's up, Hufer? This speed buff, oh man, that's ridiculous, bro. When I saw this, I was like, am I reading this right? She has the same base speed as Arby. She has the same stats as Arby. And now you're telling me she has 226 speed? That's crazy. Think about, let that sink in. She has 126 base speed. Yes, it doesn't add to her base stat, so speed set does not add on top of this. But you can make... She's now one of the fastest units in this game. I think she's faster than Akali. Yeah, she's the same speed. Yeah. She's the same speed as Akali now. Think of Akali. She's the same speed as that. That's crazy. She's almost the same speed as Assassin Sid now. That's insane, right? When you just look at that, you start to realize why that's such a significant buff. Just the speed, being able to outspeed anything, and being able to do full damage right after. Oh, that's ridiculous. That's just beauty. You know, you can't argue with that power, right? So I think Kise will become a very good PvP unit. If she already was, right? She already was one of the highest damage units in the game. She already could pump out so much single target damage, but she'll be significantly better because her S1 already does a ton of damage. Her S3 can now actually do its job properly. She already had a good kit. The only thing that still counters her is going to be Guiding Light and Bazaar and Briar Witch. Those things still counter her. But besides those things, very, very solid. Very, very solid Kise. Right? I think Kise is actually going to become one of the most premier DPSs. The one that a lot of people are very excited for is going to be Ravi. Because now you're getting to a point where the speed is so high. Yes, it doesn't affect the speed calculations. Yeah, it won't affect the speed calculations for speed set, right? That's the only thing with the new set. Yeah. It does not affect... It's the same thing as Rose. These artifacts don't affect the base speed. But it does affect just... It adds on to the end, right? So think... You can literally just look at Arby and just add 10 more speed to it. That's it. That's the only thing you can do. You can't say like, oh, I'm adding to the base speed. No, it's just to the actual speed. But what people are looking at for this is Ravi. She can kill Ravi now easy. Why? She can be so fast that she can S3 and S1 before Ravi even takes a turn. That's crazy. Because when you think about it, people are already looking at Kise being a 280 to 300 speed unit. She has elemental advantage over Ravi. Robbie almost always starts with some form of buff. You can now start with an S3 into an S1 and kill the Robbie before the Robbie even takes a single turn. Because you're going to be so much faster than Robbie. You get the extra CR push. You can literally just outspeed and kill Robbie. That's the reason why people are really looking at her as a DPS. Because we don't have a proper quote-unquote Robbie counter. All Robbie counters can be countered by other things. This is a little bit harder to counter, right? You would need Bazaar, but people usually pick Ravi when you're picking Bazaar, right? So it's like you probably already have Bazaar and now you have Kisei on top of that. And you have a Kisei that can speed contest too. So very, very cool. Very, very exciting. Puts her on top with Assassins. But now as far as the other one, Ludwig. This one's really cool. And I don't know why. This is something that I've been noticing from a lot of the current top level players, right? And I've been seeing it a lot. A lot of the top players now that love to play around are building Ludwigs. For some weird reason. We know YDCV has used Ludwig since forever. But I know 2 players that are like legend contenders in the Discord that have a Ludwig build. And they love the Ludwig. They're like, Ludwig's great. And I'm like, what? So the fact that Ludwig is getting this, it's actually really, really good. So the attack, that's amazing. He does more damage. That's great. This one, Moonlight, let's actually look at the kit because I need a refresher. I actually have him like fully maxed out too. Like he has Molas where he needs to have Molas. He's fully awakened. And I even think I have a couple of imprints for him. To stun. So he has a high chance to stun with the S2. That's a 100% chance to stun. Wow. You can give Ludwig a 100% chance to stun with the S2. That's annoying. That's cool. This is actually really cool. Not gonna lie. This one is really, really nice for Earth Expedition. If we ever get Earth Expedition again, Ludwig was already being used for Earth Expedition. This makes him as a really strong Earth Expedition unit because now you have a unit that can also decrease defense on Earth Expedition. That's the big one. The one that most people are going to use though is going to be this one, the S3. It's just a raw damage increase. And Ludwig was already doing pretty good damage, right? Like his S3 would do anywhere from like 14 to 16k. That's around how much he would do on average on the S3. And now you're talking about a raw 10% increase plus the attack percentage increase. That's probably comes out to be like an extra like 1,000, 2,000 damage, right? So instead of 14, 16, you're looking at 15, 18. That's a lot. That's significant. That can kill most things in this game. Like almost all things in this game will get deleted by this now. That's crazy. That's good. Especially because it cleaves. I think it makes him a lot better cleave unit. And I think we're going to see a lot more Crimson Armin Dingo teams popping around for people trying to have fun. Do I think this is meta breaking? No. I don't think he's going to be like meta breaking, but it's definitely a nice quality of life update. And I'll think it'll definitely get him to see more play and people to look at him a little bit more. Because right now, his damage is starting to be a little too low. And he doesn't have that much self-survivability. But with this, it's actually pretty nice, right? So I'm happy with this. I might actually be able to use my Ludwig again. So I might try out my Ludwig on stream one of these days. I keep saying that. But again, really, really solid. Then when we actually look at the exclusive equipment, it's the same price. It's the same thing for all these. So this, very, very good. Very, very excited. Very, very powerful. Kisei, I actually see being meta relevant. The only thing is she's going to be a whale unit. So I wouldn't recommend her for early game players. Even like mid-late, it's going to be really hard to build a good Kisei. And people are going to know how to deal with her. You don't get Guiding Light on Kisei. Yes, you're extremely fast. But if you don't have the right gear on her, someone's going to be faster than you. Hey, what's up, Andrew? But yeah, it's nice. Kisei, definitely going to be meta relevant. Ludwig, just for fun. I know people are still going to use this unit just for fun, as they always have. But alright, then Solitaria. Oh man, this is the video I'm actually posting today. So you'll get to hear my in-depth thoughts. But I want to hear y'all. I want to see what y'all think about her. If you were a pity, would you pity her? My answer would be no. I would personally not pity for this unit. Why? I mean, she looks really fun, right? She looks like a really fun unit, but I don't see her breaking the game or anything. I could see a lot of people pulling for her, though, because she just kind of dookies on... She dookies on Seaside really hard. Bro, like this, I can see people just pulling her because they hate Seaside. That's the thing. I already know all these people are going to be pulling for Solitaria because they're like, oh, she counters Seaside? That's all I need to hear. That's all you needed to say. Counter Seaside, boom, insta pull. Right, so I already know a lot of people are going to pull this unit just because they know she counters Seaside. And counters Rylet, right? Just the fact that she does this, I already know people are going to pull for her. The thing that I find really cool, that no one's really talking about this, right? So, look at this team, right? Solitaria is going to take turn 1. Solitaria is a light unit. You will see that she's going to go on Faithless Litica. She's not going to go on top model Luluka. And that's why she's going to be a good arena defense unit. So when we see this is a very weird arena offense team. But watch, she's using her S3. She's not going to go on top model Luluka. She's going on the Faithless Litica, who's the highest CR unit. No one really talked about this, right? So she will always target the highest CR pushed unit. That makes her an extremely valuable arena defense unit. Because again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Whenever you think of arena defense, the only thing that your defense really needs to do before you can play around with other units, you need to have a counter to Seaside and you have to have a counter to Cleave. If you don't have either of these things in your arena defense, you are not going to be climbing as good. You are going to be getting deleted. You are going to be getting farmed in arena, right? And a lot of people that can't climb to champion is because they don't match those two things. They don't protect themselves against Seaside, or they don't protect themselves against Cleave properly. Solitaria does both, right? This opens up a lot of teams where you can play around with the opponent and force them into bad situations, right? So that part's really cool. The other thing is the stealth pairs off perfectly with FCC. What people may have to start doing is bringing Bazaar and a unit faster than Bazaar, because if they just bring Bazaar, Solitaria is gonna outspeed. Solitaria is in a higher speed tier. Solitaria will outspeed the Bazaar, stun the Bazaar. GG, you just lost because your Bazaar can't strip the Solitaria. So really, really good in that aspect. So as far as arena defense, unquestionably going to be pretty good. I imagine some people will definitely be using her for arena defense. As far as the counters to Seaside, I mean, it's a really weird dynamic because she hard counters Seaside. But, you know, to counter a unit in RTA, you need 2 units. So let's say you're trying to counter Seaside in RTA. Let's say they pick Seaside. Who do you pick? Let's say you pick Rowana, and let's say you pick Solitaria. If you're picking Rowana and Solitaria, it's counterintuitive because now your Rowana is useless, right? They'll just be like, all right, my Seaside's useless, then I'll make your Rowana useless for the most part. So I think her with Last Order Crawl, great Seaside counter. Her and Rowana, maybe not as great Seaside counter, just because if they don't decide, like, all right, I'm not going to get to use Seaside anyway, let me just ban something else besides Solitaria and Rowana, and then ban another one of your threats. So, I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. She'll still stomp on Seaside. This is a lot of pressure. It's a force ban for a Seaside player. If they have a Seaside, they have to ban her. Unless you have her and Rowana, then the player can kind of decide depending on the draft. But for the most part, it's a very hard punish to Seaside. And whenever you force situations where the opponent is forced to ban something, that's great. So it's going to be, if you don't have Last Order Crawl now, you're not going to be able to play Seaside. Because if you don't have Last Order Crawl, or if you don't have Last Pick, you can't play Seaside. Now, if you have Last Pick, then Seaside's still up for grabs. So, not kind of rough. But Solitaria can actually function pretty well aside from a Seaside counter. I think a lot of people are very caught on the fact that she's a Seaside counter and kind of ignore everything else. She seems really annoying. I don't think she's a unit that people will feel is overpowered, because she's a unit that just constantly is there disrupting. Almost like Dizzy to an extent. But at the same time, it's almost like Dizzy, and we rarely get to see Dizzy. Right? Because the S1 is actually really good with the passive. The S1 is essentially Dizzy's... It's a nerfed version of Dizzy's S1. Except with this S1, if you have a buff, which you almost always will have a buff, you get Daydream, which means you can also have a pseudo... What's the name of the artifact? You have a better Zero Red, right? So it gets pretty good if you have buffs, because you're able to get Daydream and you're able to apply debuffs with the S1 AoE. You're able to strip and you're able to potentially stun like a Dizzy S1. That's really annoying, right? I'm not going to underplay that. I'm not going to say that's bad. I'm not going to say that, but I'm not going to say it's insane either, right? We can think of units like Dizzy who can use counter, who dual attack with the S1, right? That's AoE, that can strip. And Dizzy rarely sees play. That have more crushing debuffs. and Dizzy rarely sees play. The only thing that she has over Dizzy is the fact that she has a really good S3 as well that is more targeted, which is really good in the current meta because it makes it so she's not as punished by Last Rider Crawl. It makes it so she's not as hard punished by General Purgus. But those two units are very hard to watch out for right now. So this skill, very nice. I mean, stunning at target, decreasing their buff duration, stunning, pushing back. That's great. Kills Rylip. That's all you really need to know for that one. The stealth makes it so she can actually stay alive for a little bit longer. It lets you set up into more things. It lets you proc the S1. So again, overall, pretty annoying control unit. I don't think she's worth the pity though. And I know this might come back and bite me because I know it's always like this. Units that don't seem OP, something will change in the meta. Like let's say General Purgus goes away and we go back to a control centered meta. She's going to come back and she's going to be insane, right? So it's a hard Seaside Riley counter. It's a good control unit. Is she worth the pity? I would personally say no. Is she like, should you throw some summons at her? Yeah, why not? I mean, she's a good unit, right? She does her job pretty well. She's pretty annoying. I could see myself using her in RTA for speed contesting just because I can and because I know I can do certain things. But has potential for a unit. I'm not going to say she's bad. I just don't think it's worth the pity. To be completely honest with y'all, if I had to give you my honest opinion, good unit, absolutely. Good kit, yes. Counters unit, absolutely. Is she pity worthy? I mean, it's the same idea as if you think if Emil Haste was pity worthy, right? If you think Emil Haste was pity worthy, even to this day, right? Like taking everything you've considered that's happened up to now, if you think Emil Haste is worth the pity, then she may be worth the pity for you, right? Because she does have a very strong counter skill and she can function very similar to Emil Haste and has the potential to become stronger with time, right? But like Emil Haste, she's mostly there to counter a certain unit. So it's a good unit, but I think there's a lot more. There could be better. It's not game breaking, right? Like when I read Last Order Call, I was like, this unit is absolutely broken. It's going to destroy the game, right? She's not one of those units that I feel like, oh, this unit is just ridiculous. I thought this S3 was actually AoE at first, but it's not. So this is not an AoE S3. So just know that. Then we have the rate up. Nothing crazy. I mean, it's Elena. Elena has fallen off really hard, dude. Like, I rarely see Elena anymore. She's kind of like that niche pocket pick that some people have, like, really good Elenas just sitting around. Because they'll have spare gear from building other healers. And they'll build the Elena, and the Elena will, like, pop off. And then, of course, we have the Book of Memories. This one, I mean, best story in Epic 7. This is the best story that I've ever written. I'm not going to spoil it, because if you haven't experienced this yet, you need to experience the story. Even if you have never read any Epic 7 lore, you don't need to read any Epic 7 lore to enjoy this story. It's just a good, it's a well-written story, right? And you get my homeboy Bask. Ah, man, this is Bask is not a good unit, but some people do use him for fun. And then now, as far as the skins, so now we're getting more to the fun stuff, right? And we're gonna go back to the RTA, and then we're gonna go into more in-depth discussion on some of the other stuff, right? Pretty small patch though, all in all. Nothing like super dummy crazy. But going through to the skins, oof. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of all these skins, right? With the Tempest Cern skin, I actually like it. I know there's people that don't like it, but I think it looks so good. Like the outfit looks really good on her. And I like how colorful it is. I noticed that a lot of the newer units have been releasing, and like the skins are very colorful. So Tempest Cern, very, very cool. Very, very colorful. I love it. I'm a big fan. The skin's nice. And I like that it's on the shop. Right? That's the thing that I like it. That it's in the shop, which means that they're releasing more skins. As you guys saw, they are releasing the Rose skin, which is really, really good. But okay, now let's see the other skin that's coming, as well as the other heroes that are coming next week. So Rowanna's coming back. And honestly, this is probably one of the heroes that I think a lot of people actually want for PvP and for PvE purposes. I actually think that Rowanna is going to be a unit that is going to start coming back slowly. Right? And it's a unit that is always good to have. If you're a new player, I would almost recommend to try to pull for her. She's just such a good arena defense unit. Even if SSB is gone, She's so annoying to deal with in arena defense because she's so bulky. She has barriers. She heals. She gives the buff that makes it so you can just stall. It's just a very, very annoying defense unit. And the thing about it, she's still really good against Cerise. She's really good against Lilius. She's still really good against SSB. And I'm sure SSB people will still find a way to play SSB. She's good against any dual attack unit that they put out in the future. And you know there's going to be other units in the future. She is a good PvE hero for a lot of stages. She makes auto labby like a joke. She's really good for other stages here and there. I mean, for Blue Expo, she's like a must-have almost. So Rohanna, being around the corner, I would almost say she's actually worth the pull. But there's still a collab right around the corner as well. And then on the other hand, Yuffie, I mean, this unit is just like gone. I think the only people that use Yuffie are people that love the character and want to have fun. But meta competitive wise, this unit's gone. Oh, it's not at the same time. Alright, am I? Oh, today I forgot is the Epic 7 stream. That makes sense. Yeah, I usually like to stream afterwards, but not today. Today's it's a busy week for me. It's a busy night. But as far as the Yuffie, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Yuffie. I think she's very outdated. And then of course, this skin, bro. Should you pull for Rohanna or save for the collab? Depends where you are. You really should have enough for the collab. I will say if you're a free-to-play player, you always have to have enough for a collab. You can never not do it. You can never not have pity for a collab because you will regret if you didn't save for it. 7 weeks should be enough to get it for you. But if you don't have enough to pity, I mean, Rohanna is really good. But it's not like a Tama, right? Tama and Basara are the only two units I would tell you absolutely you must pull. As a free-to-play player, I would recommend Rohanna if you have the extra summons. But it's pretty solid. I like it. And then, of course, dude, the rose skin is actually gorgeous. Like, this rose skin is actually, like, my favorite. So, this one, it's a beauty. It's a beauty, dude. This actually makes me want to build Rose. And the Epic Pass comes out next week. I think they just did it because they're just trying to stall a little bit for time while they make new updates. But this skin is just, like, ridiculous. The next collab was confirmed to be in June. Yeah, it's about 7 to 8 weeks, right? So we are here right now, right? We just finished the collab here. So they said it's coming on June. And it's probably going to be late June. So I expect it to be like the 23rd or the 16th. It isn't a long time, right? It isn't a very long time. But you need to start saving now. Because Pity is at 120 summons. That's a lot. That's a lot. So that one is pretty spicy. Man, you have time. But you should start saving to have Pity. Because collabs, you can expect at least 2 limited units. There will be at least 2, if not 3 collab units with every collab. We've only had 1 collab, and the 1 collab we had was 2 units. So you can expect at least 2 limiteds, which is a lot, right? And you do not want to miss any limited units, especially because I just know these units are going to be like ridiculously strong. Like I feel like this collab, they're going to make these units be absolutely busted. So I would say start saving. But I still think Fonzio's skin is still the best skin, bro. But this skin is so good, dude. It's such a good skin. This is actually like it actually makes me want to build a Rose. So I think that was it for as far as patch updates. Again, it's a very small patch, right? Usually we do get bigger patches, but I think they're saving up for the collab. I really do think they might reveal the collab 2 weeks from now and then have a month before it. So, man, I really wanna build Rose because oh man, and at least the Epic Pass. I'm glad it was the T-Cern one, wasn't the Epic Pass, and that one they just added to the skin shop. I'm a big fan that they're doing that now, right? That they're adding skins outside of the shop because A, I had extra tickets anyway, so it's nice that I can spend them. B, it gives them a revenue source. C, more skins equals more fun. And D, they did a really good job choosing. Like, they make this skin very basic, but I'm sure the Rose skin is going to look ridiculous. Like, the S3 is going to look freaking amazing. So, I'm excited for that. But alright, now to the one that I skipped at the beginning. And the part I'm going to start getting heated. Oh, man, we're going to be here for a long time. I already know. Skyward Season. Oh, RTA. They did absolutely nothing. And as an RTA player and as a longtime player, this was horrifically disappointing. Like, I don't know what else to tell you guys. This is just legit just disappointing. But yeah, collab is scary. Roana is really good unit. Like, you cannot go wrong with pulling for Roana. But just know if you really want the collab units, you might have to pull out the wallet, right? Because you never know with these banner heroes if you're gonna have to go to pity. So it's very, very intense. But dude, let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about the new RTA season, right? What has changed? So brackets, exact same. Master gets you the skin, gets you the frame, gets you everything, right? Master, pretty easy. Challenger, champion, legend, exact same. Does it matter that legend was 4,200 points last season? No. Doesn't matter. Does it matter that champion was the biggest tier and was bigger than the difference from 0 points to champion? Was a bigger difference from champion to legend? Doesn't matter. Still the same. The legend frame looks sick. Yes, I will have to give them that. This legend frame was absolutely insane. I'll give credit to Smilegate where credit is due. This frame looks absolutely ridiculous. This frame actually, I think it's one of my favorite frames that we've gotten so far. Like, this legend frame actually looks nuts. The extra gold, I think, just makes it stand out a lot more. And it looks like a dragon almost. This one I actually think is the best one. But they're not going to change the rewards. They're not going to change it. It's a sad thing, Herbert. That's the thing. They're not going to change it. As far as the other two, right? Between Challenger and Champion, there's like no difference. Like, at all. You still don't get the Conquest points, which is still a slap in the face, dude. Why don't I get Conquest points at Champion? I don't get that. What? Like, do I not need them? Like, what if I don't like Ruel? I have Ruel and I want the skin, of course. But if I didn't, and I didn't care for Ruel, why not just stay in gold? What's the point of me playing RTA? I don't, besides the cosmetics, right? It's frustrating that they didn't change anything about the reward system. Light, this skin, I think no one was expecting this one. I think this one's, no one was really, I don't think anyone asked for a Ruel skin. I really don't think anyone asked for the Ruel skin. But I'm happy. I mean, I use Ruel. But this frame for champion, between champion and challenger, there are very small differences. But I mean, it's so similar, dude. Like, they are so similar. Champion to legend, oh yeah, I will know who's a legend player. I will know who's a legend player when I see this, for sure. That stands out. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I like it. I mean, I have Ruel and I use Ruel a lot, so I'm happy with the Ruel skin. But I mean, there's just, the rewards are still like dookie, right? Anything else? Nope. That's it. It doesn't feel like a new season. To say it, to put it mildly, it just doesn't feel like a new season. And I hate to be like a negative Nancy, right? Y'all know I'm typically a positive person, but this is tough for a late game player like myself, because it's like, what's the motivation? Nothing changed, right? The reward systems are the same. The meta is gonna be, unless they release, that's why I think the collab is gonna be dummy insane, right? I really do think it's unless they release a unit that is just mind-blowing with the collab, right? Like, if the collab is like, this is the collab of the freaking century, bro. Like, if they put like a really hype anime or a really hype fighting game that people are excited for, that can change up the meta, I think RTA may be fun. But until then, that's in over a month. Solitaria is not going to change the meta, right? So it's going to be a very stale first month or two of RTA. And again, it's a 3-month thing, right? So we're doing the same thing we did last season. At least between season 2 and season 3, we got the frenzy changes, right? That was exciting. The frenzy changes were nice. We got more effectiveness. We got extra attack. This one is just like, it's legit as a copy paste of the last one. I really do think it might be, sadly betas, I really do think it might be the what's the name of that? That time I got reincarnated as a slime. I would be super hyped for that. If it's slime collab, oh, I would be super hyped. I love slime. I'd be super hyped. But I know there wasn't any. The thing about it is, season 1, it was very new. It felt new. RTA was like this completely new thing that was super exciting. Season 2 was tanky. It was more like refined. We had the GG collab around the end of season 1. So I am really hoping that season 4, like at this point, everyone knows what's meta. Everyone knows what's good. I am hoping that they'll put a unit that just destroys the meta, right? And I think the collab will do that. So we'll just have to wait for the collab. Maybe it'll get spicy again. But the rewards just for essentially almost 2 years at this point since RTA was released. And the rewards are still trash. Sad day for RTA mains. I could see it not being enough to make... I know season 5... I mean, if season 5, that's like the last straw, right? This one's just disappointing. I mean, I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm quitting Epic 7 because RTA's... RTA is not boring. I'm not going to lie to y'all. RTA is not boring. I still love RTA. But I'm not going to say, oh, it's Smage, dead game, trash. I imagine it takes time to make these decisions. I do think they are looking at the 2 bans. Maybe it was too soon to implement that. So they might be doing more testing, more trying, letting other people try it out. Is it sad that we don't get rewards and it's been out for 2 years? Yes. Is it sad that rewards have been getting worse? Yes. Before in preseason, we used to have RTA preseason rewards, where if you played every day, you used to get like 200 energy, right? We don't have that anymore, right? So they've actually scaled back on the rewards overall. So they're actually making rewards worse. I don't know why. There's like almost no incentive except for the flex. I mean, for me, I have incentive because I'm a YouTuber. But for all of y'all, it's like, why even play RTA at this point? Because you're probably not getting to legend. Champion's massive. Like once you make champion, what's the point, right? You get the same reward someone that plays RTA every day will get. So it's tough. They did preseason 2 as well, Sin. They did preseason 1 and preseason 2. Preseason 3, they didn't do it. They did preseason 2 though. I remember because I remember they did the event again and I thought it was the best event ever. And everyone was like, hey, time to play RTA again. They did it for season 2. They did it 2 times already and then they scaled it back. But I don't know. It's disappointing. I'm not going to lie to y'all. It is very disappointing. That's why I'm making challenges for myself. For example, I'm going to try to get to champion using all RGB. Maybe I'll tank my rank and try again with like a different challenge, and maybe that's how I'll have fun in RTA this season and focus more on content rather than getting good, right? So that might be something that I might be doing in the future, is maybe focus more on content and focus on having fun rather than being competitive. Which is ironic for me to say because I just got RB, right? It's weird for me to say that because I just got RB, I just got Fallen Cecilia, a Tywin's at its peak right now. All my units are doing really, really good, but it's like the season I have the least drive to climb now. So I might start doing fun, focus more on content and on having fun rather than being competitive in RTA. Which I mean, at the end of the game, that's what the game is for, right? It's all for having fun, and I've been having a lot of fun cleaving. Not gonna lie, I'm addicted to Operator Sigurd Cleave. It's actually kind of a problem. I'm actually addicted to Operator Sigurd Cleave. I don't know why. I love Operator Sigurd Cleave too much. But alright, going off of that, I want to do a super quick tier list for you guys to talk about why I'm also thinking I just don't see. Let me just do a quick tier list. I think it might also already be saved. So let me just pull up the tier list I've made in the past. And then after that, I'll be able to we can discuss why I think the meta is going to be super stale this time, and I don't know what they're actually going to be changing. Like, I'm actually really curious what they're going to be changing in the future. Oh man, I think I deleted the pin that had the tier list. That sucks. Let me look that up for you guys, because I want to see the, like, it's right now, honestly, it's all Jeeperd. If you look, like, you know how, you guys know how it's like the big event is like this Sunday, I believe, or Monday for Epic 7. Like that big event is like really, really soon, right? I I honestly think it's going to be all G-Perd. All right, let me see if this is it. All right, there we go. We found it. All right, we found it. We found it. So we'll let it load. I don't know why my internet's being so dummy slow. So we got it. We're chilling. Ludwig is really cool though. Solitaria, I don't think she's S. I think she'll be A. I don't think she's gonna do anything to the meta, and I'll talk about why. I'll talk about why I think the meta is really stale, and I really don't see how we're gonna change it up. And what's up, K-Jessens? But I think we are gonna need a massive rework. So this tier list was made 2 months ago, right? And I haven't tuned it, right? So it's not like final, right? Don't think this is final. I don't think there's any other unit here that I missed that was like, oh, this is a crazy strong unit. So let's talk about it. Right now, this unit in competitive, like high-end play, is a must-pick unit. The Epic 7 festival that they're gonna do with like all the big boys when they're doing the tournament and they're fighting each other, I can guarantee y'all General Purgus is going to be either it's gonna have 100% representation. They will either ban General Purgus or they will pick General Purgus. There's not going to be in between with this unit. This unit, I actually think is the best unit in the game for RTA right now. Which is really weird for me to say that, but this unit is the best unit in the game. And this unit is not here anymore. It's become very... The unit that went up is this guy. This unit will actually be 100% pick or ban rate. I will almost place bets right now that this unit will be 100% pick or ban rate this weekend. He's ridiculous. He literally destroyed the meta. Everything you can talk about right now, why the meta is stale or why the meta is so tanky or why the meta is a certain type of way, is because of this guy. I never thought I would say that an ML 4-star has essentially broken RTA, right? And he's the one, right? He's had a bigger impact, I would say, than any other unit that we've seen ever. Why, right? Why General Purgus? This unit does damage, sets up attack buff, stops AoE completely, right? Gives a ton of advantage. So it's like big damage, sets up attack buff, stuns for no reason. Why the hell does he stun? Stuns, gives CR push, which is a ton of advantage, and does damage. All in one. He's a support, he's a bruiser, he's tanky, he controls, he does everything. He does everything. And there's no team you don't want him. You're cleaving, General Purgus does good cleave damage. You're bruisering, General Purgus. You're controlling, why not General Purgus? He's the most versatile pick. There's actually no team you don't want General Purgus in. Like, no cap. There is no RTA team you don't want General Purgus in, which is why he is like a must-pick unit. In high level, right? Lower down, people don't know how to use him. People don't have the units, don't have the gear. They don't know how to deal with his counters. He's not as prevalent. I would actually put him here. But in like high competitive play, oh man, yeah, he's a must-picker man at this point. And then we have units that, you know, they're golden boys. The golden boys are the golden boys, right? These units, I would almost say A Tywin is actually stronger, but Last Rider Cross is a little more of a priority early pick. I don't like that General Purgus. General Purgus really did come out of nowhere. But Last Rider Cross, very powerful still. People still think he's falling off, and I disagree. Because even if you don't see him being played, he pressures so much in the game state. Like, he's another reason why we are where we are. Because it's like all these units that can counter General Purgus, right? Like Cerise, really good counter towards General Purgus, right? Or Basar, right? Basar, another really broken unit. Who counters Basar? Holiday Yuffie, right? But why can't you pick those units to counter? Because Last Rider Crawl exists. If you pick one of those big AoE units, you're just getting slammed by Last Rider Crawl. So just the fact that this unit exists applies so much pressure to drafts, stops you from picking certain units, counters a lot of meta units, but can also be hard counters. So it's kind of a unit that even if he's not seeing as much play in high competitive play, he has definitely fallen off a little bit because of a lot of different units. the fact that he exists is enough to pressure the opponent, right? And if you have him, you completely block out certain strategies, right? Does he have counters? Yes. But just the fact he exists applies so much pressure, right? And again, it's another unit that has counters, but you can't play the counters, right? We are where we are because of these two units to an extent. General Purgus is the most versatile, but the reason General Purgus goes unchecked is because the player who picks General Purgus counters Last Order Crawl, right? So you don't want to pick Last Order Crawl into General Purgus. But if you're the General Purgus player and you pick Last Order Crawl, you now have all the counters to General Purgus blocked out, and you have all the counters to Last Order Crawl blocked out. So in a way, you're kind of like protecting one and each other when you pick these two together, which is why Golden Boys are so broken together, right? So they kind of supplement each other, but General Purgus is still the priority because General Purgus can fit in more places than Last Order Crawl can. And then there's a Tywin. Arguably, this one's the most burst type unit. These guys are like the meta setters, right? They're the team cores. A Tywin is the most out there unit. He is there for damage, he's there for controlling, and he's there for draft pressure. While these guys are core team units and block strategies, this guy's the one that shoves the team in and gives you the dub, right? So this guy, A Tywin, is the one that gives you dubs. This guy by himself can win you games, right? If he gets his S3 off uncontested, you lose the game, right? Which is why if you get these three guys in a draft, oh man, I feel so sorry for your opponent or for yourself, right? There is so few counters to these three guys being on the same team that they can't solidify with the last two picks and just counter pick you to anywhere, right? All three of them are tanking, so you can't one-shot them. A Tywin stops control. General Purgus stops control, so you can't control them. Last Order Crawl, on a Bruiser versus Bruiser matchup, these two are going to win every single time, right? Because they just ramp up way too much. So it's just the strongest team core right now. It's the most meta, right? It's the meta. So these guys, way too broken. Kind of the meta-defining units right now. On top of all this, you still have Fallen Cecilia. Fallen Cecilia is probably the unit that people still pick the most that people still pick against General Purgus. Why? Just the raw survivability this unit provides is just still insane. The barriers are just still insane. The provoke, amazing. The skill nullifier, a good Fallen Cecilia player knows when to set up the skill nullifier. It's over, right? It provides sustain in a weird way. It makes it and does decent damage. So Fallen Cecilia is still amazing, still great. I still first pick her, and I still hate going against her. Stops a lot of dumb stuff from happening. Stops F10A, because F10A does really good against Last Order Crawl. F10A does pretty good against a Tywin. But with a Fallen Cecilia on the board, can F10A, right? So again, they just supplement each other way too well. So very, very powerful. Just perfect supplements to each other. If you get all the knights in one draft, it's really hard to beat. Now we start seeing some of the other power picks that people are actually starting to first pick a lot more often in high competitive play. Bazaar is probably, like, this is the reason why when people say RGB units that are not limited can't make an impact in the game, this is why I strongly disagree. Bazaar exists. Bro, this guy, how can you tell me that RGBs are bad when this guy exists? This guy in itself is probably one of the best units in this game. Bazaar just, you don't know how fast he is. People are willing to make their Bazaars 50 million speed, right? Bazaar counters almost all the DPS. There's like, besides Arby, Bazaar counters all DPSs in this game, right? So it's a J-Signs. I do think that Pinshu has something to do with General Purgus. So Bazaar, it's like very, very, very oppressive. Good for cleave, good for countering control. No, not control, good for countering bruisers. Good for taking turn 1 away. A lot of bruiser players actually use Bazaar because you take turn 1 away and then you hit them with a Tywin, right? This combo is like insane, right? Let's say the first pick FCC. You can pick these two to hard punish the FCC pick. Or you can pick General Purgus and Bazaar, and now Bazaar has almost no counters to him, right? With the exception of like maybe Holiday Youthfiend, but then you have the if they pick Holiday Youthfiend, then you just laugh because, okay, they got Holiday Youthfiend. Have fun giving me 18% every other turn, right? So again, these two together, very, very strong. These two together, very, very strong. Basar just absolutely insane. Sets up into aggressive teams, sets up into tanky teams. Just, there's no reason you don't want him. So, right now, I almost want to say, since Season 1, this is the most polarized the Epic 7 meta has been. But it's also still diverse somehow, right? Like, I don't think I've gone a single game without seeing one of these 5 units, right? And you could say the same for Landy, who's probably up here, right? So these 5 units, you will not see a single game where none of these units are picked. You may see all of them, you may see most of them, but you will never see a game where not a single one of these is not picked, right? And this is why I'm like, I don't know what they can do, right? How do you counter these? Like, how do you counter the team? You can counter individual pieces and make it like a game of chess, which is essentially what Epic 7 RTA has become. It's a chess game. It's like, okay, you pick this, I pick this, I have this, and then you pick that, and you have to predict that, right? It's mostly won at draft at this point. Most games in Epic 7 are won at draft. They're not won in the match. So I don't know how you counter this, right? How do you counter this? Like, what unit can you release that counters this? The units that have had the most success countering this are heavy single target damage dealing units that can just do so much single target damage that you just make it a 3v4, right? So I've seen people that are using a lot of very heavy single target bruisers, right? Like LQC does really well against Golden Boys, right? One of the reasons she's up here. Ravi does really well against Golden Boys, just as she outsustains. Tamaru Luka to an extent, depending on the draft. Stene, right? Like a Ravi, even though a Ravi doesn't see as much play because it's you need insane God gear on her. I would almost put her here now. But a Ravi, again, she does good, but like they could just add a Doris on here. So it's tough. It's tough. They really should just nerf it. You're right, Dodge. You're right. You're right. Dodge step. The only way you get out of this mess at this point is by nerfing or releasing a unit that is just so broken that it just stops them. I actually know what unit they might actually release, and I really hope that if that does happen, I really wonder what's gonna happen to the game, because it'll be like a crazy stuff. Oh yeah, that's another tech. Thank you for bringing it up, TC. Apparently, this is a new tech. Just y'all know I stay up to date with a lot of the new techs. Y'all know MOKen, right? Y'all know how we were saying buff MOKen? MOKen tech is actually coming out to stop the Golden Boy draft. I really do wonder if we're going to see it in the tournament. And it's actually really good. I'm actually going to put in my counter pick now. MOKen is low-key kind of schmoovin' now. And what's the tech, right? You might be wondering, what's the tech, King? What has changed? MOKen's still the same. Why are people using him now? They're giving MOKen Lifesteal set. Lifesteal, high F-res MOKen. They can't kill you, but you can kill them. Really, really weird. And the requirements are really low because he crits when he's crit, right? He's guaranteed to crit if you're crit, right? So it makes it so you have a high sustain unit that can do a lot of damage, that can resist a Tywin like it's nothing, right? Hard a Tywin counter, by the way. High resist MOKen, hard a Tywin counter. But it's actually becoming like, it's a new tech. I don't know how successful it'll be. I don't know how much we'll see it. And I don't know how much you should be investing in this. But just know that top level players are actually using this and having really good success, especially against a Tywin. Because if you guys didn't know, all a Tywins now are damage a Tywin. It's usually Scythe, Lifesteal, High F-res, not Strake. Right? It's very unique. I just want to let you guys know that it's out there. I don't know how much you should invest in it, again. But because a Tywin right now is usually on a crit damage build, oh man, that a Tywin doesn't kill you. A Tywin can stun you because he doesn't have ignore F-res. So now you can have MOKen counter on a Tywin, stopping a Tywin's S3. So essentially, a Tywin becomes a soul-stealing provoker, right? Versus an S3er, because if he starts S3ing, oh man, he's gonna get deleted by MOKen, right? How gear intensive it is? Insanely gear intensive. We're talking like He doesn't need immunity set, right? So you can put a certain set on him. He doesn't need immunity set. He counters General Purgus too, right? Because General Purgus can't kill Emoken. Emoken can destroy General Purgus. He needs like good offensive stats, good defensive stats, high ER, like over 150% ER without using Strake's Gauntlet. Because you need him on side still. So it needs to be Lifesteal, Sigurd Scythe, high, over 150 ER with good defensive and good offensive stat. Like, the gear requirements are ridiculous. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that it's not, that it's easy to do. It's not. But it's a cool tech. I kind of like it. Just out there. I have not talked about DJB. Anthony, this is not going to be like a full in-depth RTA tier list. I will release one probably next week, actually. But I do want to talk and confer with some other top players. And I want to wait till the big event comes out to do the full tier list. Because I still have to fix this one, right? This is not updated. I'm just talking about certain meta units. The big thing I was trying to point out to you guys is why next season is going to be a little bit on the staler side. But people are starting to adapt to Golden Boys, which, I mean, it's good, but they're still the best meta strategy, right? So just know that. He's on the come up. But yeah, you don't necessarily need the lifesteal set. The thing that makes lifesteal sets so good and why it's become so popular is because a lot of the times, a problem that Emoken has is these guys may not get you down to lower than 50%, so you don't heal, and then they can bop you in high frenzy, right? They'll ignore you until high frenzy, and then will one-shot you or two-shot you, right? That's the thing. That's a big thing. So that one is pretty cool. So that is pretty cool. As far as the meta, these guys are still meta. It's gonna be decently stale, but there's still some place for creativity, right? So and KLS has kind of pointed it out. A lot of people are still sleeping on this guy, dude. A lot of people are still sleeping on this guy. I don't know why. I don't know why they haven't. People are still sleeping on this guy. T Crosset is actually so annoying. I would almost say he's one of the best knights right now. Like that's not one of the golden ones. Like, if you don't have access to any of these knights, T Crosset is pretty insane. Because he essentially gives any unit a stronger seaside passive. He can cut in, he can disrupt. And he can cleanse. That's the big one. He's very gear intensive though, because he needs to be very tanky, decently fast, on counter set, and with high ER, right? ER right now is pretty big. Yeah, that's the thing. It can be a crutch. That's the big thing. But he's very, very powerful. And the thing about it is what I could see start popping up. And this is a team that I can, down the line, I think will actually start becoming more and more popular and more prevalent. Because you guys know not everyone can have Golden Boys, right? And people are going to start banning Golden Boys. People are going to start getting counters. There's another strategy that I also expect to see in the big tournament. And that strategy revolves around Archdemon's Shadow, right? Archdemon's Shadow is still a unit that people still think is bad. But in high level play, everyone knows she's broken. And her playstyle, while extremely boring, is extremely good, right? Because what you do is, and it also does counter the Golden Boy draft, right? And it's kind of like the counter to the Golden Boy draft, but it's just very unit intensive. It's a Ross first pick with Arcdemon Mercedes Landy, T Crosset, and then 5th pick for counter, right? And that core is so strong because the thing about it is you have a Ross that can pop off with Landy, right? So you have a Ross that can pop off with Landy, which is a premier DPS. That can also pop off with Archdemon's Shadow. If they ban Landy and leave you Archdemon's Shadow, you have a Ross that can pop off with Archdemon's Shadow. So you have this duo with either Ross Landy or Ross Archdemon Mercedes. You have one or the other or both that can do a lot of damage over time and can win you the fight and provide a lot of support. And Ross is usually on Rise of the Monarchs, which is the artifact that gives you the barrier. Then you have Troublemaker Crosset, that if they ban Ross to stop the immunity, now you have Troublemaker Crosset for the dispel. You have them to make one of these units insanely tanky because they get a seaside passive. And then you can also disrupt if they try to kill them. They're just going to end up getting stunned, giving you more turns to use these units, right? So it creates a very strong team core that is very hard to deal with. And because you still have 2 knights that are tanky, and RTA Mercedes is inherently tanky, you have a situation where you also can counter cleave, right? And you still have to pick 5. And usually, let's say you're going against Bruisers or Golden Boys. You're going against Golden Boys, you're picking up that Doris. Because they are not going to be able to out-sustain you. You will out-sustain them with Ross, Landy, Amaro, or T-Crossit if you put Doris in there. If you're going against a more aggressive team composition, you can put Ruel. Now they can definitely not kill your unit. So it's kind of a protect the castle strategy. I think that one's like a really cool strategy that people don't like to play because it feels toxic. And it is toxic, right? It is very toxic, right? And you can switch it up. You can not use Ross, but I think it's a very, very cool strategy. And it's one that I expect to see at least be used once. Because it's so powerful. And then, of course, you also have the variant that's Ross, General Purgus, Amaru, Doris, Landy. Like, that's still something. Or Stene, depending on the situation. Right? So, but one thing that's common on all of these is General Purgus. Right? You're always going to be seeing General Purgus. You're always going to have to deal with General Purgus. And that's the big thing. Right? So this guy, honestly, just tier 0. It's weird to say that. We've never had a tier 0 unit in high level play, but General Purgus is pretty much there. He's a unit that's either pick or ban. So it's pretty big, right? And Amaru counters General Purgus and counters A Tywin, counters FCC, counters a lot of the Golden Boy draft, right? So that's why Amaru is so powerful. Why Ross Amaru, why T-Crossit is so powerful, because there's a lot of really big DPSs that can pop out with T-Crossit. Like Amaru with T-Crossit is actually unkillable. T-Cern with T-Crossit is super annoying. T-Crossit plus LQC can stomp. T-Crossit plus Landy can stomp. T-Crossit plus Rylet is okay. That one's not that good. T-Crossit plus Robbie, pretty good. I actually think Rylet's here now. I don't think Rylet's that good anymore. I think Chu is here. Like, there's a lot of places that can move around units. So this looks a little bit better. But, I mean, overall, I mean, it's going. It's not bad. So, all in all, just a quick summary on why did I show you guys this if I'm not going to go over the whole tier list. I just wanted to show you guys what to expect from the Epic 7 Fiesta. Know some of the stuff that is out there that top level players are using. Oh, DJ Basar, I forgot you asked about him. DJ Basar, oh man, he's a high skill cap unit. I think we will see him. He's one of those counter pick units. He's one of those units that you don't see a lot. But when you do, you are probably going to lose to it. Because it's just a unit that just counter picks so hard. And if you know how to use him, he is ridiculous. And with the right, like, he's a high skill cap character, which is weird to say that. He's a high skill cap character. To say the least, there's a lot of really good drafts with DJ Basar that are absolutely ridiculous. But the biggest problem is that he's hard to use. And it's hard to incorporate in your teams. But if you're able to do that, he's actually a really good unit. I think people are underestimating what he can do. Operator Cigarette, right now, unless you're a cleaver, is the speed build. So let me go back. And the Operator Cigarette video should be coming out next week. I already have the clips for it. I just have to put them together. Next week should be a fun stream week. Next week, I'm excited for stream week. But let's go to OP Sig, since you were asking about her. There's 2 builds for Operator Sigrid. This is the build that if you're not running like a super aggro cleave that can make like a fast landy, this is the one that's ideally 85% crit. This kills me so often. The higher the crit, the better. But I'm boosted and I don't have like OP gear, and I haven't finished tuning her. But it's pretty good. I mean, I haven't reforged the ring. There's still a lot of room for her to grow. I use her a lot. I love her a little too much. I like using her too much. That sometimes it's like I shouldn't be bringing her here, and I still do. She has decent gear. I mean, like, this helmet's not great, right? Like, the speed's pretty low. Some people put more effectiveness. This is like the more common build though, and the other build is the high damage one. So the high damage one is if you're using like speed landing, other stuff. Ruel's on the come up too though. Ruel might actually be coming up from niche to just a good unit overall. I think she's already there. Oh yeah, I think she's still pretty strong. In the right team, she's still really good. But, I mean, yeah, she's not there to do damage. She's just there to set up and do some poke. But as far as Elfelt buffs, I think Elfelt's really good. I don't think Elfelt's in here with her buffs yet. Oh, yeah. She's, like, up here. I think people are still sleeping on her. Again, another high skill cap unit that's also very, very Mola invested. Mola heavy, right? So, like, a lot of these units that are strong, that people don't use lower down, is because A, they're very, very Mola gear intensive, and B, they are very hard to use. I don't think there's a single unit on here that's like a brain dead unit. All these units require a lot of gear understanding, a lot of team composition understanding. It requires a lot. Charles is interesting, but it's going. It's going. Do I think Kise? Yes. I think Kise has the potential to be really good because she counters the Golden Boy draft pretty good. And she counters Ravi. That's the big one. Everyone hates Ravi because she counters the Golden Boy draft, but Kise is a really good DPS that fits into the... it's like an Akali, right? Kise is essentially an Akali now. Where is Kise, actually? Oh, she's right here. I think she's a pretty strong unit now. I don't think she'll be meta, but I think she'll be a really strong unit. She'll be a really good DPS that can take out Ravi. So, overall, all I wanted to say with this discussion is I don't expect there to be huge meta shifts. Golden Boys are still going to be the top. General Purgus, unless they nerf him or release a counter to General Purgus, he's going to be in a while. Any opinion on people saying DJB is still worse than Ray? The people who are saying that are people that don't really understand high-end RTA. At face value, yes. Ray is better. At like a very basic, just like on paper. But as far as actuality, no. DJ Basara, I think it has more potential than Ray. But the only thing is, like, the thing is Ray counters F10A better. So they're different, right? Ray is better at countering F10A. DJ Basar is just insane. The only way I see them stopping General Purgus is building a... Honestly, the way to dethrone... Y'all actually want to hear what I actually think they have to do. And you guys are going to hate me for this. And if this happens, I think it'd be too strong. I don't think the game is ready for this. But I think they need to release a unit that can do an AoE attack that can apply Seal. Like a Basar, but with Seal. Or an AoE unit with Seal. If they release a unit that has AoE Seal, oh yeah, Golden Boy draft is gone, dude. Like, it's so much riskier because then you're forced to ban it. I know it sounds broken, and I understand. I don't think the game is ready for that. But it's getting to a point that it's not unthinkable. Cerise is a decent counter to General Purgus, but the thing about it, it's like Cerise is a coin toss, right? And then if you do Cerise and they just pick a Lilius, then it's GG, right? So it's like, imagine you use Cerise and you don't land on any of these guys, and then they take Atomic Cleanses it later on. So I don't know, man. I mean, Amero's already strong. I don't want Amero getting buffed. If Amero gets buffed, dude, she would actually go into here. No cap. If Amero got buffed, she would go all the way up to here. She's already such a strong unit. If they buff her in any way, she has the potential to be ridiculous. But I do think in the future, I know the game may not be ready for it right now. Like AoE Seal, that's unthinkable, right? You think like Basar with Seal, that's unthinkable. That's why you answer, bro. Nah, bro. It's the big brain thinking, bro. It's the big brains. I don't know if the game is ready for it, but I think it's something that we should start thinking about, and Smiley should start considering, because it's getting to a point where like passives are pretty oppressive, right? Like passives are getting to a point where they're starting to become very, very powerful. So this unit would just like halt everything, and then certain units would start becoming meta because of it. So it'll be interesting. I don't think they should give it with the strip though. I think if they make a Seal unit, they shouldn't make it with the strip. Or they give a Solitaire. Like if Solitaire had Seal, I think that'd be fine as well. That would actually be okay. Like if like Solitaire that just came out, if Solitaire's S3 applied Seal instead of push back, like if it was stun and Seal, oh yeah, then Solitaire would be like really fucking dumb. Sorry for the language. I apologize if there's anyone young watching. But if I know a single target unit that can Seal that can with strip would be really good as well. So they made a unit that can single target strip and seal. That unit would also be really good. Artifact of the seal chance wouldn't be bad either, but it's too RNG. I think like a Solitaire type unit would actually, that's not actually unthinkable. Maybe collab? That might be a collab. AoE seal is not unthinkable, but I think the first step would be making a Falconeer Clury-esque unit that can apply seal. That's what I think will come first. And I think that can actually shut down Golden Boy draft, right? Because you can shut out a Tywin, you can shut out General Purgus, but also not being like ridiculously overpowered in certain scenarios, right? And you can still cleanse. As far as the collab, dude, I have no clue, bro. I have no clue. But, alright. We can keep going. Sadly, though, I do have to end the stream here. I do have to go and take care of a lot of stuff. Some channel updates, though. We will revisit this tier list. I might make a meta discussion because this was just going to be a patch update, but it was just a small update. Just know that those are some of the things we're going to start seeing. I don't have to leave. I know it's sudden, but some exciting updates. We should be releasing a sponsored video on Monday. And I'm really excited to actually talk about it. It's really, really fun. So hopefully y'all will get to see it. Epic 7 Fiesta is like a huge tournament. Will be interesting to see. We'll be interested to see if our predictions are right with General Purgus having 100% pick or ban rate. What else? What other big channel updates? Like and subscribe, because I have a lot of really good stuff planned. Like I actually have a lot of videos planned that are really, really exciting. And I'm really excited for one this Friday that I hope turns out okay. And I'm excited for all the other ones. So, oh yeah, I know the people like Persona. But yeah, that's all I got. I'll be fixing this tier list and I'll be releasing a formal video of it, discussing in depth of each character. But as far as the future, that's a really good conversation. I might actually write that down. But that's all I got for you guys today. I will see y'all next time. Thank y'all for dropping in the stream. I will be streaming the all RGB account re-gear next week. So I'll be destroying my account. RIP. All my MO units. And I will also be actually climbing with it. But yeah, later, y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.